They promised a green revolution. Cheap, convenient rides, cities free of traffic, and a future where you could hop on a scooter and glide into tomorrow. But behind the glossy ads and the slick app, Lightning Shared Scooters has a very different story. In this video, we're investigating the dark side of Lightning scooters. Safety issues, hidden fees, shady data practices, and why regulators in multiple cities are asking, is this company really helping or hurting? Lightning scooters exploded onto the scene in just a few years. Founded in insert year, the company positioned itself as a leader in shared mobility, rolling out tens of thousands of scooters across United States and European cities. Their pitch was simple: download the app, scan a QR code, pay by the minute. So, one of the biggest issues? Yeah, safety. Reports started surfacing about scooters suddenly losing power right in the middle of a ride. Faulty brakes were causing crashes, and believe it or not, handlebar stems were snapping under just normal use. In fact, city after city, emergency rooms began to report a spike in scooter-related injuries. We're talking everything from broken wrists to concussions. One rider actually shared their story. The app said my scooter had 80% battery. Halfway down a hill, it just cut off. I flew forward and broke my arm. And it's not just riders. Pedestrians have been hit, tripped, and in some tragic cases, even killed in scooter-related accidents. Yet critics say Lightning's response has been to downplay responsibility, blaming riders instead of acknowledging product flaws or maintenance failures. Lightning advertises scooters as cheap and affordable, but, many users claim the math doesn't add up. Here's what we found. There's a $1 unlock fee plus per-minute charges that vary by city. Unannounced surcharges in so-called busy zones. Some customers report being charged for rides that ended hours earlier because the scooter didn't log off properly. On Reddit and Trustpilot, users call it death by microfees. What should have been a $3 trip ended up costing me $12. Lightning's customer service just ignored my emails. Cheap on the surface, expensive in practice. Then there's the issue most people don't think about: data. Every time you use Lightning, the company collects your GPS location in real time, payment information, trip histories, and in some cases, even access to your phone's contacts and camera. The company claims this is to, improve user experience. But investigative journalists uncovered documents suggesting that Lightning also shares anonymized data with third-party marketers and city governments. In other words, your ride isn't just transportation, it's a data point. So, Lightning built its brand on being green, but, studies suggest otherwise. The average lifespan of a shared scooter is often less than 2 years. And honestly, many end up trashed after accidents or vandalism. So, one of the biggest issues? Yeah, safe now. If you factor in the trucks required to collect, charge, and redistribute scooters every night, plus the batteries shipped from overseas, the carbon footprint is far bigger than advertised. As one researcher put it, shared scooters aren't a replacement for cars. They mostly replace walking, biking, or public transit, which means they actually add emissions to the system. So much for eco-friendly, huh? Cities across the United States and Europe have struggled to regulate Lightning. Complaints include scooters blocking sidewalks and wheelchair ramps, noise and clutter in residential neighborhoods, and, riders just ignoring traffic laws. In some cities, Lightning's permits were suspended or even revoked entirely. But critics say the company often deploys scooters first, then negotiates later, using these aggressive expansion tactics that, honestly, seem to prioritize market share over community safety. When you peel back the marketing, Lightning Shared Scooter Company, LSSC, faces a long trail of complaints, lawsuits, and even government warnings. On the Better Business Bureau, dozens of complaints have been filed. The common themes just keep repeating. Refunds refused for phantom charges and overbilling, customer service tickets ignored, leaving users without answers for weeks, and scooter malfunctions that have led to injuries. From brakes, failing to sudden power cutoffs right in the middle of a ride. One rider described it bluntly. But you know, the issues go deeper than just angry customers. There have been multiple lawsuits, not only from injured riders, but also from competitors accusing LSSC of unfair business practices. Pedestrians and property owners who were injured or affected by poorly parked scooters have filed suits too. And even city governments have gotten involved, claiming the company failed to comply with local regulations and safety requirements. One attorney representing injured riders stated in a press conference, Lightning knows their scooters are unsafe. They've received repeated warnings about design flaws and maintenance issues, and yet they keep deploying them on city streets. And it's not just lawyers sounding the alarm. Several U.S. cities, including Austin, Denver, and Los Angeles, have issued regulatory warnings against LSSC, citing failure to properly maintain fleets, lack of compliance with local traffic laws, and scooters obstructing sidewalks and ADA pathways. In some cases, regulators went further, threatening suspension or revocation of permits unless the company improved safety protocols. Despite these warnings, critics argue that LSSC treats fines and lawsuits as simply a cost of doing business, while continuing to expand aggressively into new markets. The result? Riders, pedestrians, and even cities themselves are left to deal with the consequences, while Lightning continues to insist it's building a safer, greener future. But perhaps the most damning evidence doesn't come from customers or regulators. It comes from inside Lightning's shared scooter company itself. Former employees and contractors have stepped forward with disturbing claims. Maintenance shortcuts. Whistleblowers allege that scooters marked as needing repair were often redeployed anyway, just to keep fleet numbers high. Unrealistic targets. Internal documents show managers pressured mechanics to fix dozens of scooters per hour, even if that meant skipping safety checks. Data exploitation. One former data analyst claims Lightning was less focused on safety improvements and more on how to monetize rider location data. We'd flag scooters with serious brake issues. Instead of scrapping them, supervisors told us to put them back out. The priority was quantity, not safety. Another insider described the culture as move fast, cover up the problems, and hope no one gets hurt badly enough to make the news. If true, these accounts suggest that Lightning isn't just facing random accidents or so-called user errors. They may be knowingly putting unsafe scooters on the streets, and honestly, betting that lawsuits and fines will cost less than actually fixing the underlying problems. When you look past the marketing, Lightning starts to look less like a mobility revolution and, well, more like a Silicon Valley hustle. It's a business model built on rapid expansion, cheap hardware, and shifting responsibility away from the company and onto the rider. It's the classic move fast and break things mentality. Only this time, what's breaking are bones, trust, and city streets. So, is Lightning really the future of transportation? Or just another tech company hiding behind buzzwords while exploiting customers, communities, and riders? The truth is clear. Behind the glossy app lies a company fueled by hype, fees, and questionable practices. If you ride with caution. And if you invest, do your homework. Because Lightning may not be what it seems. Check the pinned comment to get help from an expert. Work with a cyber expert to resolve your grievance.